Yeah, so I was going to make this joke about how I'm actually here to talk about the granulars and history of unshielded twisted pair. Um, but that would set the bar low, so anything I do after that should be better. So what we are going to do is start. So the event that we've all came here for, got to keep them separated, the words of Offspring. Wait, but do we though? Maybe not so much. So let's find out with Taco the Boss. That's me. So first off, just want to do a quick intro. Who is this guy? So who am I? I actually got my start in software development. I do a lot of software development in my free time, and I got into security from pivoting out of security engineering. I'm recently an ordained priest by the Church of Latter-day Dude, for those who follow Dudism. It's the non-theist religion of the philosophy of Jeff the Dude Lebowski from The Big Lebowski, the 92 film. The Coen brothers directed it. I go to the gym a lot. I like exercising. Kind of healthy body, healthy mind sort of thing. I kind of get sluggish mentally and can't work if I don't. So I play a lot of video games, mainly Halo. So if you want to ever do matchmaking, no scope, pwn some noobs, I'm your dude. So also, avid a football fan. I kind of feel like I'm going to lose half of you when I tell you what team, but okay. All right, more adulation than I thought I'd receive. Yeah, the American variety. Sorry, I should have specified. So professionally, I'm a cybersecurity instructor at the Coder School. And that's me teaching something. I had no hair, now I do. The Coder School, Learn to Code, Change the World. We basically teach kids 8 through 18 how to program, how to really do anything they want to. A lot of gaming, a lot of Python, a lot of C, Unity, C#, ubiquitous C# jokes in there. And the Chief Information Officer at RapidCat. And that's probably the most professional you're ever going to see me on camera captured ever. So RapidCat, who we are, is we are a financial analytics platform, and we aim to disrupt the Forex binary market by lowering the intellectual barrier to entry so that anybody with a couple brain cells can really do some good work here and tap into the biggest market. The lead security operations center architect at Black Harbor Cybersecurity. And Black Harbor Cybersecurity is a cybersecurity firm based out of Detroit, Michigan. We do cybersecurity for automotive OEMs. We have a pretty solid foothold in the cyber-to-physical space. So everything that constitutes a cyber action to a physical reaction, that's what we do. And as a former head of cybersecurity services at SAM Analytics and a former psychological operations specialist in the Army under USASOC, that's me, same guy, just no scarf, no hat. So why am I up here speaking to you? So I have experience in red team, so application, mobile, black box testing. Black box, gray box, and white box, but black box in the sense that I literally given a black box and say, hey, do this. Vulnerability assessments and social engineering campaigns against company staffs that paid us to do so with permission, not just out of fun. Blue team side is so SIM development and implementation. I've built a number of systems utilizing the Elastic Stack as the core to create a security incident event management platform. Positions I've held in Security Operations Center, engineer helping our security team basically decrease their mean time to respond, MTTR and MTTDs, the mean time to detect. Analyst, team lead, and lead architect, which is what I do now. And the cyber-to-physical side, I got my start in industrial control systems. So I did a vulnerability assessment and pen test for a SCADA network. SCADA is a supervisory control and data acquisition for a major metropolitan public transportation system. Automated transportation, think like streetcars, trams, that kind of thing. I do a lot of research in my free time regarding the realms of industrial control systems and OT. OT means operational technology. That is nomenclature vernacular I'm going to be using a lot in this presentation. I also realized that to get all the content into this time block helps to talk fast. So if I lose anyone, please just let me know. I'll try to slow down. Also, automated tank gauges. I recently got that a few months ago. Really interesting. That's something that people don't pay attention to. Not sure why. And what won't I talk about? Product promotions. I don't do a lot of product promotions. I talk about products. I try not to because I feel that if I do, that's going to take away from the substantial air that I'm trying to get across. I don't want to become too much of a salesman. The minute granulars of NERC. Crap, hold on. SIP 003-5, SIP 003-6. I think we get the message. These are just different regulatory and compliance bodies that really, if you're going to be doing any kind of IT-OT convergence, you should have all of these covered. So I put them in small yellow text just to get a couple chuckles, which I did. Thank you. What will I talk about? So Industry 4.0, what is it, what the problem is, and what the proposed prospective solutions are. And what I mean by that is I have a couple of things I'm going to show that it's not a one-size-fit-all, but I do want to try and help get the mentality out there regarding secure architecture for cyber-to-physical integration between IT systems. And demos, we're going to do a little bit of showdanning so you can kind of look yourself if you go home if you want to. So see what some vulnerable nodes look like in regards to what I'm going to talk about. We're going to rage against the machine by severely messing up a PLC lab. We're going to do some broker mischief with the MQTT broker. That's going to be the IoT portion. And then we're going to be passing gas tanks, automated tank gauges. So I'm going to build a little bit of historical context to build up from where we were to where we now are in as far as Industry 4.0. So late 1700s, the beginning of Industry 1.0, we have the emergence of mechanization. So we're pivoting our core infrastructure of agriculture, and we are migrating to industry, so creating stuff. And steam engine, with the creation of the steam engine, subsequently we have to find ways to extract fuel faster, so we're able to increase the speed of which we can mine coal. And that's, technological introductions and advances, all that stuff. And so material, human-driven exchanges, being able to transport people, from take a trip from one place to another. Also goods, things that expired, like meat. And so this also created the foundational blueprints of how we have factories and industrial facilities today, in a sense. Industry 2.0, late 1800s, bless you again. I feel like that last one was on purpose. Where was that? Yes, new energy. And so gas, oil, electricity, the introduction to the combustion engine, that kind of drove the steel industry to have to increase to create more combustion engines. New communication, telegraph, and telephone, these are groundbreaking communicational achievements that allows, messages to be relayed from one place to another, obviously. New transportation, automobile, and plane. We have Industry 3.0, so the late 1900s, 1969, so long ago, and we have the introduction of new energy again in the form of nuclear. We have new electronics, so transistors, microprocessors, all that jazz. Then we have telecommunications, computers, and we revitalize the industry by the creation of enhancing automation with creation of robots and programmable logic controllers, or PLCs. The cool kids say. So now, where we are in now is Industry 4.0, right? We have all this crap going on. So the 9 pillars of Industry 4.0, as it's known now. First one is a virtual and augmented reality, the idea to generate and create complex digital environments to design and visualize creation new products. Bless you. Additive manufacturing, that's actually really cool, is you're transforming how manufacturing is done. Normally you start off with the source material and you whittle away and you chisel until it becomes something that you want, right? Like molding it, really. But this way, using 3D printing of numerous materials, you're actually building from the bottom up. So you're starting with that. And that's really cool because you don't waste materials. It's pretty exact. Internet of Things. We all know what IoT is. Does anybody not know what IoT is? Cool. Omnipresent network, everything's connected, peripheral intelligence, tracking behavior for real-time monitoring analysis. Big data, so you making new standards for data management by repeatable processes that can be, integrated into multiple environments. Predictive analytics, so statistical algorithms, machine learning, cloud computing. So we all know what that is. Advanced simulation, being able to visualize and simulate processes to get the output and then, kind of see what works, what doesn't. There's more to it than that. I'm not doing enough justice. Autonomous robots that can think, act, and react. And universal integration. So this is a really big one. Communications between different systems. It's kind of a broad one, but it's going to play a part a lot in this presentation. And cybersecurity, because for Industry 4.0 to grow and become something else, you need to have things secure. So if things aren't secure, you can't really expand. So here's the problem as it's seen in the industry, as I see it. We have a large influx of companies and entities that are rushing to meet this industrial relevance, right? So organizations, companies, entities want to meet Industry 4.0, be able to take part in these interconnective exchanges. And with that being said, the creation and development for tools in the realm of cloud management and analytics and all that kind of stuff come about. So here we have connected production. I don't know if that's a company or that's just a tool name, but that's an industrial control system dashboard. We have here a home IoT dashboard, just a little sample. It's got a light switch and temperature and all that. And then we have a ATG dashboard from Same IT Solutions, just to be able to look at tank status and all that stuff. And the process kind of goes as follows. Pretty much any meme that you see in here, I sat down and created. So it might not be that funny, but I hope. Starts off with the organization putting their stuff on the internet. Is this IT-OT convergence? Just imagine there's a question mark there. I forgot to add that in. And then that turns into the organization. The organization and the ball is a cybersecurity, right? So the ball's been dropped. Like lots of balls have been dropped by lots of organizations. The ball's been dropped. And then they end up falling flat on their face. Mm-hmm. That's what happens. So to get into some scary stats, I leveraged Shodan just like 20 minutes to gather some numbers here so I can try and relay. So, get it, scary movie. ICS OT devices. There's a few of these, a few categories of these that I found. So, Modbus, PLCs utilizing the Modbus protocol, over 20,000 of those. Siemens devices, either S7 PLCs or SCADA devices are over 19,000. PLCs or devices utilizing the DNP3 protocol is over 500. Same thing with Tritium, but it's 35,000. And BACnet, almost 20,000 or 19,000. GE Industrial Solutions, 78. That's actually a little surprising to me because they've been trying to get out there with their products. And devices utilizing the IEC 607.870-5-104 protocol. That's over 1,100. These are all just, when you're working with PLCs and OT devices, you can have different protocols, but it's just, like I showed you with all my pictures in my intro, different hat, same guy, right? So IoT, MQTT brokers. So MQTT is a protocol that a lot of IoT devices use to communicate, machine-to-machine communication. So specifically, I believe I did Mosquito. Mosquito and ActiveMQ are the two most prolific and ubiquitous ones out in the wild. But I did MQTTs because it's easier, and I actually see it a lot more. So it's about 79,000, and that's a lot. And automated tank gauges. a whopping $5,000, but that's still a lot for regarding the countries that you can see are filled in red. I forgot what was next. Oh, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and do some showdanning. Just a couple things. So growing up, my home state of Connecticut, didn't really have a lot of television stations to watch because we can never afford cable. So a lot of things I watched were cooking shows. I'm a huge fan of TV Magic, so I have some TV Magic pre-prepared showdown things set up. And this, I'm not going to spend a lot of time in it, but just to show you where to look, is how I gather the stats. So there are a large amount of protocols that are utilized, and we can see here. So as long as we don't do anything after just looking at the showdown information, we're good. So he currently overloaded. I guess that answers the question here. Okay. That is odd. So if I can't load this, oh, there we go. Yeah, sweet. So let's take a look nearby to where we are, see if there's anything in either Chapel Hill, Durham, or Raleigh that is openly exposed. Should just take me a few minutes, maybe like one. Let's see where we are. Okay. That's nowhere. I don't know what that is. A better idea to make this more streamlined is I'm actually just going to go back and we're going to take a quick look at the output of what we have. That way I don't kill time. I can't go back. Yeah, gone too far. I'm in too deep, man. We'll come back to that. So port 1883 is normally what MQTT uses, but there's also a couple other things that use that. So I had to parse with the string of MQTT in the output, and so we can see right here, whatever this is in Yulong, Hong Kong, this is most likely an IoT broker utilizing, it's probably Mosquito, because one thing I've noticed too while doing research is a lot of the Mosquito brokers, these are called topics. So these are like, think of them almost like directories for a command. So broker clients maximum, a control command might be control, give it an integer, it might increase the maximum, something like that. I'm not an IoT expert, but I understand enough of MQTT to know how to leverage it in a not so good manner for professional purposes only. And so this is most likely a Mosquito broker, because they normally begin with this $sys. Someone can correct me later on if I'm wrong, because I'm not always right, but most of the time I am. So here we go. ActiveMQ, you can see it begins with the ActiveMQ string. That's how you know it's an ActiveMQ device. Then you have your different topics after here. Not going to get too much into that because I've got a lot more to cover. But yeah, so gas tanks. Let's go ahead and see gas stations near us that are openly... I really hope this works. If it doesn't work, I'm just going to go on to the next thing. So let's go ahead. We see a gas station in Raleigh, North Carolina. Let's view the details of it, and we can see, actually, hey, that's in Durham. We can see there's a gas station on 200 James Street. So the thing about trying to identify cyberphysical devices, it's interesting, right? Because normally you can have a company in New York and their web servers coming out of California, or maybe they have a couple other ones just to meet like geographic demands or whatever. With cyber-to-physical devices, you're actually getting the IP of when that leaves the network. So you're getting, if it's in, so it's located in Durham, but we saw where it was geographically with the lat launch, whatever Shodan uses. We saw that in Raleigh. So whenever that that last hop that goes to the open internet after it leaves whatever ISP boundaries. That's where we see it at. So it's a not super far away radius. But anyways, what we can see here is this is an automated tank gauge that is open on the internet, probably so that some company has an ATG manager that you can log into and view all this information. Essentially what this is, VDRoot is a automated tank gauge that is prolifically used in a lot of places. And when people want to do remote managing of it, they open the port 10,001, and it's essentially a telnet engagement from there. So if you can telnet, you can break into ATGs. Now, granted, you do have users and passwords, but there are some ways to get around it. I mean, you can try DOSing the 10,001 port and then keep trying to log into it while it boots up. Because I think the password, the user authentication, whatever's in it, I think runs last, something like that. That's something I came across during research. I never tried it because the whole legality thing, but so yeah, yeah, that old bugger. So what I'm gonna do here is I created a tool called Rapid Fire. When I did my first industrial control, that's the wrong one. Hold on. I'll just do it from here, whatever. Give me just a second, guys. That's not a command. Okay, so I created a tool called Rapid Fire. I created it because I needed a way to quickly test the ability to do holding register address value injection and basically be able to flip bits and coils on a programmable logic controller. So I decided that because like a lot of the socket-based tools out there like MBTGet, you can only do them one at a time. And PLCs also have, a lot of them have a limit, especially if they're using the Modbus protocol, that they can only handle about 124, 125 requests at once. So I have I hope I put it on. I have a demo set up, a demo PLC, and what we're going to do really quickly, I do have one more thing I have to open up, which was a bit of an oversight, but I'm actually making it in really good time comparatively from what I thought. So, okay. I'm going to go back to here. Go back in here. So what I'm going to do is really quickly just show you when we query the PLC and ask it what it has in it. I can show you what that output looks like. If I'm okay. Give me just a second. Okay, so right here we see if we've got a watch command that is gonna run an MBT get query to our demo instance. So right now we can see these are holding register address values. Honestly, from the outside in, we have no idea what these mean. These could be temperature settings. These could be, I don't know, the weight of something, right? These numbers look arbitrary, but believe me, they're not. They mean something to that particular device. And we're going to go ahead and, can I split? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and split this. Split it with that. And then I'm also going to go right here, do the same so we're going to have this kind of on the side so we can go back to it after we do the exploits, so I can show you what that looks like. And all right, so here's another MBT get watch that's going to look at the coils, so just zeros and ones, right? Zeros and ones. That's the result of whatever ladder logic that you assign to that particular PLC for the functions that it oversees. It would be like me to just lose where I was. Here we go. Okay. So we've all seen what that output is there for watching the holding register address values in the coils. So now we're going to get into Modbus module, and we're going to use the SMOD framework. Nope. Yeah, so there's some bugs in here where it doesn't go right back to the menu, so you're going to see me control-seeing a lot. That's supposed to say stuff doer, because I use it to do stuff. So we're gonna use what is going on? Seem to have run into something odd. Give me just 1 second. If not, I have a video, so. Oh, hey, so when doing this, you should plug in your laptop. Heard it from me first. Yeah, I'm so glad I had a backup there. So I do need to keep this on though at some point, but we can go through the video. Video is probably a bit more entertaining, I think, anyways, than watching me just plug around with shit. So while the video's going, I will explain what's going on to the best of my ability, and then we'll go from there. So I do have the video, just in case stuff gets kind of swifty, which it has. So here we go, the functional version of what I was going to show you. So rapid fire, getting into stuff doer. See, it shows up nicer there. And what I just did was I pulled a show modules, which in SMOD. SMOD is a Modbus testing framework that I built a wrapper in rapid fire for. It wasn't originally part of rapid fire. Rapid fire was just for holding register address values, nothing else. And I just kind of kept building on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to utilize the module Modbus scanner UID. This is harder to see than I thought. I do apologize if no one can see it, but so what we just did was we set the target host to 0. We want to get the UID of the PLC. That way we can figure out the functions. So we see the UID is 1. There's 2. Just go with 1. Then I'm going to go ahead and use the show functions or get function module. And then we show the options. We're going to set the R hosts again, and then we're going to take the UID that we just got, and we're going to put that in there as well. This is, I mean, if you work in Metasploit or anything, this framework looks familiar, how to use it. Okay, it takes a second for these to come up, but so we see that function 3 is enabled to read multiple holding registers, and I'm highlighting on the top right side utilizing a terminal split watch window. We can see the different holding and register address values there. And then function code read write multiple registers. That should foreshadow some things, I hope. And give it a second, it stops. Eventually I stop it. Function code 1 is supported, which means it's on, which means we have the ability to read from an external location the bits in this coil. And then function code 15 is being able to write multiple coils. Some more foreshadowing there. So then we're going to get back into the Modbus module. We're going to use number 3, which is a holding register address value injection. and setting the target IP address. What we're doing here is messing it up. I forgot it. I don't know why I didn't just cut that out. So we're doing the same thing again, putting in the home. Now again, we have the holding register. Sorry, the PLC can only handle a certain amount of communications at a time, so that's why we're setting a start and end address. I just put 1 through 21 because you can see relatively okay the 1 through 20 on the top right. And the value we're going to inject for test is 777. So pay attention to the top right numbers. And so we have just quashed or ruined all the configurations of that exposed PLC. So somebody's going to get fired. We're going to do the same thing with coil injection. So it's the same shebang, just with the bottom right. I'm going to get in here real quick. So glad I took this video. All right, so the next thing that we're going to be doing is, if this turns on in time, I'm probably just going to migrate back to the thing so I can explain and highlight things. Actually, no, I have it in here. So pretty much what we just did, here was we enter the MQTT target, and what happens is that broker that we target, we're saying, hey, give me all your topics. So these are all the topics, like I showed you before. Why did that just go back? So we have all these topics here, and we see one called sensor. Sensor slash sensor hyphen 3542, and we see it has the message of off. I'm not sure what we can do with that, but I guess we can find out. And highlight this 3 more times. And it is a little bit choppy. You end up having to re-enter the MQTT target address again for that broker. And so the client that we want, the topic that we want to subscribe to is sensors slash sensors hyphen 3542, the thing that we saw that was off up here. And now that we subscribe to it, we are choosing the published topic, which by default can be control unless you change it. And so now we've subscribed to the target of this sensor that has a binary on-off function. I wonder what that can be. Then we've subscribed to the publishing topic, which allows us to actually publish things to it. And we're going to go ahead and publish in something. There we go, on. So we're literally just publishing the string on to it. And I have to go back into it, redo the querying, and then give it a second. You can see right here, sensors slash sensor dash 3542. At the very bottom, the message is now on. So someone's light just turned on. Now, it's simple example, but the fact of the matter is that there are smart homes with sensors that tell you if your doors are opened or closed. If I'm going to break into your home, I don't know if most people do this, but you could just see this out in the open, change the option from closed to open. So if somebody's at work, they think their doors are closed, but they're really open, but you're just giving the smart home that message. Yeah. So that's that. Next up, we're gonna, hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is where we're gonna do the automated tank gauges. So the automated tank gauge, creating a fake one is, creating a sample one is really difficult. So I went with a gas pot. Gaspot.py is really awesome. So you can build functionality into it, but I spent too much time with the meme, so. And so what happens is when you enter the IP address, it will then, I kind of have like a little instruction thing in here telling you what you can and can't do. It's basically printing out it's the vendor docs, really, the controls of the vendor docs of the automated tank gauge vendor has online. So you can see here, we start all commands utilizing a break A and then an open square bracket. And then any 3 numbers after that is a command code, and the 00, I have no idea. It's just something that's got to be, at the end of that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to eventually get into it. There's a restart command that I end up just showing. So you can see here, I ended up messing that one up. So you can see there's a $A. Now I'm actually missing the I. There's supposed to be an I right after it, but you'll see that work in a second here. And then 201 is just list inventory. So 20100, you're just looking at the 201. So any other command with the honeypot unfortunately does not work. It will just give that 9999 Fox 1 Bravo output. But yeah, that's the demo. I forgot how to work PowerPoint. All right, so next, the air gap. This is where the we got to keep them separated. In the words of Offspring, was actually a pioneer in the industrial control system field. No, that's not true. So, pictorial GIF representations of the air gap. Take a second, soak all this in. Gap, house, pushing, cutting cables. This deer. I should have got one of the deer falling, or whatever that is, gazelle or something, but just to kind of drive the point home. But forgive me, committing meme failure. So the typical traditional mindset of the industrial control system admin is keep your OT, keep your operational technology off the interwebs. Don't do it for any reason. Industrial relevance, don't do it. But that's not sustainable, you dingus. If you want to be relevant, you have to end up playing nice with IT. And that's what it comes down to with cyber-physical security, is learning how to integrate securely. So you can't just sequester yourself off into a cubby hole, because then you get stagnant and you're not able to grow. So how do we securely bridge the air gap? What I'm going to be getting into here is something that I have presented before at another conference. It's regarding secure architecture in an industrial control system or OT environment. But the idea being that what you see here can actually be kind of, remolded or customized for another. So like this industrial control system, you might be able to come up with a way to adapt and pivot this to an IoT setup or something like that, right? So that's the idea. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm just being a one, view here. So let's get into some fundamentals. We have cybersecurity rule number 1. You're not secure. No matter what, you've got to always keep that mindset. And here we have a guy poking needle holes into a water bottle. It just seemed right to use at the time. And here we have Rocco Bodie of Mega 64 hacking everything in Best Buy. Stock went down next day. So, and just to really drive the point home that you need to keep this in your mind, that whatever you're doing, always come from the area, the mindset that you're not secure. And that's something I don't have to tell you guys. But I do have this very slow moving, growing text that will give you time to reflect. So this is my drink break. All right, that's enough. It gets rather big, takes up, yeah, there we go. So here is the sliding scale of security. This is used in the SANS Industrial Control System and OT security course. Starting from securing the architecture and then getting into passive defense, and from there, you've all probably seen this, but I'm more just kind of context building so that those of you who might not understand ICS security can hopefully look at this and realize that there's kind of draw some relevance to the following slides, because I didn't want to lose anybody, so I feel that was a good thing to do. So how do we properly secure the air gap? You have your compulsory methods, employing proper encryption to cyber-physical network setup. So obviously the IoT MQTT broker Mosquito that we got into, proper encryption wasn't set up. Our AAA was in the toilet, authentication authorization auditing. Nothing was done with that, or else we wouldn't be able to get into it. Notionally speaking, obviously it's just a lab on my laptop, but routine vulnerability checks, being able to check for vulnerabilities on a pretty quick iterative basis, and performing vulnerability management from there, and deploying active monitoring. So a SIM, a SOC, some way of being alerted. A lot of the industry regulations do require. Regulations and compliances have some tenet in there that requires a monitoring of logs and activity, right? It's kind of like how HIPAA has it, PCI has it, FERPA has it, NIC also has it. Not NIC, NERC, sorry. So, continued, how do we secure the network architecture? So, through architecture, it's a bit redundant. I could have gotten rid of that subtext there. And so quick time check. I'm going to be going through these pretty quickly. For this example, this green box right here is going to represent a SCADA device, which is a supervisory control and data acquisition device that's in charge of monitoring, and managing different PLCs. And this cloud logo right here is going to be the remote magical analytics thing, right? So this is how a simple architecture can look. You've got your control points and monitor points. You've got your PLCs, which hold domain over that. Then you have your SCADA or MTU, which will hold domain over those PLCs. So you can obviously pick up that there's a certain semblance of hierarchy here in Cyberphysical and ICS OT networks. So we do a little bit of threat modeling at a very simple, easy level. So what are we building? Architecture. I just showed you. What can go wrong? Just assume that everything's going to go wrong when you're doing your threat modeling. So incoming communications of any kind can compromise a SCADA or PLC that's exposed, only because they are so rigid in the ways that they are built that if you give it anything it's not expecting, it's not good. And so here we have this blue dashed line representing the area of trust here. So going out, we can trust that, but coming in, we can't. So what are we going to do about it? We want to protect the SCADA network from unsolicited incoming traffic. And how we do that is, don't do this. Don't just connect your device to the internet. I forgot about that. Don't do that. So here we go. The purple dashed line will now represent the trust barrier in this particular diagram. We see here the addition of a bright blue, almost cyan box. What this is, It's a data diode or a unidirectional gateway. Only a few companies actually make these. The idea is that you have a one-way outgoing data diode that lets traffic go out, but you can't come in. So do we do a good job enough? So test. Do we do a good enough job? I can't English right now. So test it, right? So try and get somebody on the outside to just send crap to it. Arbitrary or valid traffic. So now I'm going to get into, these are the prospective proposed solutions, which again will not work in every environment, but the idea is to think securely. So I'm going to give you my ideas. So here we have SCADA Cloud Analytics, which is sitting in the cloud somewhere. We've got our switch right here with our two different networks. So we have a specific segmented network just for the OT, then the IT, component of the organization. And a simple way of looking at it is if you really want to do that without having traffic come in, these are examples without using a unidirectional gateway, by the way, because unidirectional gateways are really expensive. And it's also not a perfect solution because you can also, there are reasons that you'd have to do updates to whatever's on the OT network, or you'd have somebody on the outside that has to do some kind of maintenance, right? So there's a configurational something that you can actually allow it to accept traffic at certain times, right? But the idea is it's always supposed to be off. So what we do is we have a relay server from the OT network to the IT network. Then we have another high-level model here. We have a relay server with a one-way VPN connection from the OT network to an independently segmented network that is also separate from the IT component. And then that goes out. But now we're going to get to the granulars of it. How are we doing this? We're setting the one-way VPN connection over a network trunk. Network trunk, for those who don't know, is basically a configuration on the switch or network device basically saying that, hey, this IP from this subnet can talk to this IP from this other subnet, but nothing else. So this is kind of like I got a little bit happy with this here, but we're going with that second high-level network. We have the OT network. We have the segmented network right here. Then we have the IT network. And so what we have here is, so let's say that this whole setup right here is just kind of hanging to the left of this relay server, right? So we have the three different subnets for the three different networks. We have 192.168.30-24. Then we have 192.168.4.0, 192.168.5.0, right? So let's say this is the arbitrary, I just picked IP addresses. We have 192.168.3.90 as a relay server on the OT network, and we're utilizing a network trunk to pass the one-way VPN server connection from the, this is for monitoring and analytics, by the way, sending it up to the cloud. We're sending it to a recipient, a relay server, which will then send it through a reverse proxy to go out to the internet. The idea behind the reverse proxy is that once you put something on the internet, it can be seen, ideally. And so if something tries to hit that, we can have basically reroute to a honeypot would be the idea. I haven't tried it myself, but theoretically, I find this to be a functional thing. And then the honeypot will also... So we have this NID server right here, which is probably just running Suricata or something, and then we can also forward honeypot logs to find out what's going on, that we were feeding all this intelligence into this, and we can realize that, hey, there are these people trying to get into our device, right? So we have the tap span port right here, this pink one, and that's feeding all the network traffic in, while also simultaneously ingesting logs from the honeypot server, and we're utilizing syslog-ng as a forwarder on this this right here, which is the outgoing port. Yeah. So not a perfect model, but if you want to get an idea of just some creative ways to do it, I think this suits well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go through a quick scenario where we have an industrial control system set up. This is our SCADA communication. So this is the traffic going from the PLC to the SCADA device itself. We have no visibility from here to the unidirectional gateway. We have no visibility from the unidirectional gateway to any other layers, if you have any. And then we have a monitoring platform right here. So really, vendors will say, hey, you can monitor your SCADA events, use this, plug this up, whatever. We have an employee, he's kind of a disgruntled employee, right? Like he's been asking for a raise for like a year now, and he keeps saying no. Texts too much, checks personal emails, takes phone calls. So he kind of gets ticked off and becomes a criminal. And so what he does, he has direct physical access to the SCADA device, and he plugs in a thumb drive and flips it around, basically turning it into something that it shouldn't be, right? In this case, it talks to a remote server, which then installs. So notionally for this, the attacker has also done something to the unidirectional gateway that allows it to then accept incoming traffic. So the remote server can do something to that SCADA device. And now this guy has Bitcoin miner, right? So we have this powerful SCADA device that's just sitting there mining Bitcoin for him. It's just one example. It's contrived. But so try and get visibility in those areas. We're reaching towards the end of this. So then monitoring. So we've all seen this Hackers movie, Zero Cool, all that stuff. Animatrix, these are just really tropey pictures I wanted to put up. So yeah, don't be scared, be secured. For those of you who watch Practical Jokers, I've got credit here. All the industrial control system research has been done by myself. That's me at the North Carolina Modern Art Museum looking at a dangly shit man. And in regards to the IoT MQTT, I don't know this guy, but he has stevesinternetguide.com and is really good if you're trying to get into IoT stuff. So thank you, Steve, wherever you are. I think he's in the UK, actually. He's just hosting providers from there. And as far as the automated tank generation is concerned, Eric Zhang, otherwise known as Eric Zhang, he has a handle that I forgot to put in here. Sorry. He wrote an article that got me into automated tank gauges. He was one of the first dudes that exposed it. A lot of people came after him with it, but oh yeah, so I wanted to wish y'all a early holidays here, because everybody gets rapid fire. The whole turning off thing wasn't planned. I have everything set to push to Bitbucket. We'll just see if it doesn't crap out on me. Or I'm just going to go back here, sorry. Okay, so let me... Oops. Oh, yeah, I got a CD into it. That helps things. Fingers crossed, okay. That's good. Commit and then okay, so that's good. Shit. this is one of the few things that have seemingly worked. Wait, I'm not going to talk too soon. Okay, there we go. So we have, if I refresh this right here, should be able to see it. Oh, golly gee, there we go. All right. So, yeah, this isn't just me being nice. I actually need help with this. So. Yeah, so, oh yeah, bonuses. Yeah, so the Bitbucket repo, that's it. Take a second, take the picture. I'm pushing it. We're pretty much done. It's my email, so go ahead and email me if you want to be someone to work on rapid fire. Twitter me, Taco the Boss. Instagram, Taco the Boss. And it's really just a bunch of like Star Trek Deep Space Nine pictures I put on there. So now, yeah, cool. Questions? Oh, yes, you.
Unique directional gateway that you referenced, is that software-based, or is there truly like optimized layers?
So there are, from what I've seen, choice number 2. You can make a software-based one, but the idea is that having the physical one you'd have to do stuff to it to make it.
There are physical and software.
Okay.
They're one-way fiber NICs. So you have a card that's only capable of sending and a card that's only capable of receiving.
So with that, are you limited to only UDP traffic?
Yeah, because there's no way for it to talk back.
Should have had you up here, man.
Actually, I had no idea what it was. When I started working at our company, I dug an old Pentium 2 server out of a rack somewhere, and I was like, why does this have a fiber NIC? And I Googled it, and I was like, oh, well, we're missing the other half, so that's cool.
All right. Does anybody else have any?
More complex ones that will do responses on behalf of the client behind the hardware base. So it's not just transmit or receive, but they're very expensive and they're very simple purpose.
You got my email, right? Okay, good. All right, cool. We'll talk. Is that a hand up? I can't. No? Okay, there was a glare. I couldn't tell if that was a hand up. Cool. All right. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.